Bookie, Sebastian Maniscalco's kind of baby project, in my opinion. He and Omar Dorsey are running a book. It's a comedy. Chuck Lorre, who's really known for Big Bang comedy and stuff like that, Big Bang Theory. We're in episodes 5 and 6. Yeah, it drops 2 episodes every week. And this one's kind of odd. I'm divided. So episode 5 and episode 6. So episode 5 centers around them going to collect from a college student who does not have the money. They try to play, tough guy bookie stuff, break your legs kind of stuff. So he's going to rob his stepmom to come up with money. And then suddenly the show derails and creates a huge moral dilemma for me that I just did not like at all. So why is that? Okay. What he does was he steals all of these jewels and watches and stuff like that. And the guys don't want to pawn it. So they decide to start giving it away and using them as presents. And quickly you realize these two guys who have really, we've kind of been rooting for all along in the 4 episodes because we felt as though we understood what their sort of like moral compass was, what their lane was. You felt as though Sebastian's Danny was a good guy who just runs a book. It just happens to be, that's his thing, right? Well, come to find out, no, he's the Italian stereotype where he's got the woman on the side like Tony Soprano. Omar, despite all the jokes about, not wearing protection, he's got baby mamas and he's broke because he's got all these baby mamas. Oh no, he's still banging other ladies. He's still going to baby mamas and will sleep with them. I mean, the moral compass of the show was sort of like the glue of why you're cheering for them, right? You're cheering for Danny, who's like all of these ridiculous and obscure and silly, exaggerated scenarios, like the shooting and all this stuff was, you're still rooting for him. Now I'm like, oh, he's cheating on his wife. Hasn't learned his lesson. He's just as bad and dumb as he ever was. Like this odd couple is now no longer as interesting to cheer for. Like you felt as though you were kind of, I don't want to say an underdog story, but you were rooting for them to keep getting over the hump. Like when they had the chance for the big win, it would either bankrupt them or no, you cheer. Oh, all right, they get a bigger safety deposit box. Cool. What kind of shenanigans will be next week? And I'm like, oh, all right. So then that brings me to episode 6. Now I'll share episode 6 with you at least a little bit because episode 6 was fun. Episode 6 was funny. This episode makes more sense. They go to a funeral and the writers, I think, either cut parts out or I missed something because come to find out, Danny doesn't own the book outright. He has to pay up 20%. He had inherited the book. This is like an uncle story who was like his dad. So he's very emotional at the passing of this character. This character, we're not attached to at all. So for me, I'm like, all right, whatever. Now, why does the episode start working? Is because it becomes absurd story after absurd story about the interactions of the bookie. I mean, we're talking about this was the best of the writing, was this little sequence where people go up and instead of having these like heartfelt, genuine whatever stories, they are all layered with multiple amounts of cringe and shenanigans. It's the best part. And then I'm reminded that the show doesn't quite know what it wants to do. We end up back with these two guys and they're talking to this guy and they get confronted by the son. So the son speaks briefly. The son is a flaming gay guy who tries to be the tough guy, who was sort of like disavowed by the dad who doesn't approve of his lifestyle. And that's sort of like the bohunky gay alpha guy, I guess. Like we're trying to play up the fact that he's just this big, tough gay guy. And they're like, no, you still owe us the 20%. You're going to pay us. And they're like, no, we're not. I got it from your dad. I don't owe you anything. So in other words, the son feels like he's inherited the business and the obligation, and they're like, no. Now, that's pretty much all this other stuff with the sister. I'll get to in just a moment, but this is them going. They go to the mom, and that doesn't go well. We'll get to this again in a minute. And then they go in and just start busting up her store. So it's like the gay guy. The gag is the gay guys are like muscle. They're like thugs. They're gonna be hard nosed. They're gonna break things. I'm like, what is so? I get the gag. We're turning everything on its head. I do feel like it goes a little too far because Sebastian's character and Omar Dorsey's character, you would feel like, well, they don't want to do the violent stuff, but you would think that you're not. They would never want to be like the rug. They don't want to. They don't want to be walked on. And I feel like they went too far, and it felt like they were a little bit walked up. But I will say it plays pretty funny. And then it kind of gets to the point where now what? Okay. So what they do is they start going to a couple of their customers who are gay, flaming gay. This one, and then the other one is, let's see, we'll get a shot of the guy. He's in drag. Anyway, so he was the trans guy. And basically they get them to go to the party and stir up chaos in their relationship. So what had been said, if there had been a cheating incident, and that makes the relationship fragile, and that's what creates chaos, and a fight breaks out, and that basically breaks it all up. So therefore they don't have to pay for the money and the inheritance and that kind of thing. So this episode at least works within the framework of the other episodes, but it's almost like a show at times can't get out of its own way a little bit. But it was at least fun. Episode 5 though was still kind of a mess. Like I think they just kind of don't get out of their way with that kind of stuff. Now, I want to get to a couple other elements. The sister. So the sister and Jorge Garcia was completely forgotten in these 2 episodes. Like they didn't even know what to do with Jorge Garcia at one point. They're like, can I go now? Was the gag. Like, can I get out of this? I mean, it's like they didn't even know what to do with this character. The sister, who's been running this shroom business on the side, is raising concerns about you're going to draw the police. The police are going to pay attention to us. But more importantly to the sister is she's the one sleeping with Omar Dorsey's character. That's Danny's sister sleeping with the dude. And it's like, but we just spent a whole episode with him giving out presents to other lady mamas. Like, what? And then there's like the backstory with the black mama, the grandma or whatever. It is at least funny. So like I would say less is more, and that's what works with that little story arc. So they just kind of keep giving you just one little scene, and then they move on. So they don't spin in it. So in the jewelry sequence, they give her like a diamond tiara. It's so obnoxious, but it fits the grandma. So the joke at the end is that they're not giving that back. So like, you want to go take it from her, you go take it from her. I'm not taking it from her. And then in this episode, it's because she's ready to get married to some dude that she had slept with and makes him mad. Anyway, it actually was that part was good. So this show it was not, but it is now sort of a hit and miss in some ways, but better than most things, especially for comedies. It's at least interesting to see them try to, juxtapose the gay stereotypes and some of the masculinity stereotypes and things you shouldn't be doing. It never gets too far. Like, it's still written for like regular television. It's not really that racy. There's a little bit of stuff. I mean, this is not PG or PG-13 even. It is rated R with the language and a couple scenes. But reality is it's not like Chuck Lorre is and Nick Bakay. I don't know how you say his last name. It's not like they're breaking ground here or some new thing. It's just interesting and it's fun. I will say the fact that Charlie Sheen's name keeps getting thrown around. If you look at like news articles and recaps, or you Google the show, it's like it always has Charlie. Charlie has not been in this show for like 5 episodes. Like, why are you people still trying to make it seem like Charlie's part of all this? He's never in any of this stuff. I thought he'd be in the one with the kid, but it didn't show up. So anyway, you're caught up on the Bookie. It's still a recommend. It's fun. I don't think I spoiled too much. It's not like it's a sitting by the edge of your seat suspense story or anything like that, but it's fun. And it doesn't always work, but it's better than most things. So there you go. B minus. Yeah, B minus is probably right. Yeah, B minus. Like a 3 stars. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys take care. Till next time, I am Pops.